hello. How's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Hope everyone's doing great. Hope everyone's had a fantastic day, is having fantastic time, despite Arsenal basically pissing everyone off, doing everything they can in their power to make every single fan super angry. Basically, that's what Arsenal is doing at the moment, and it's pissing also the hell out of me, I'm not gonna lie. Let me know how do you feel in the chat, and really hope something changes at some point during this transfer window. I really do, but at the moment it doesn't look that way. Genuinely, it doesn't look that way, because the way it all has been going, it's gonna be very long last 2.5 weeks, because we are 2 months into the transfer window. We have signed only Calafiori, which in my opinion wasn't the main necessity into the team, but we are where we are. And we haven't signed any midfielders, any attackers, not even a striker, no, nothing. It is very bleak, it's very annoying, it's very agitating as well, if you will, and it's not looking great. Genuinely, it is not looking great. And just before we get into everything, if you're new around here, don't forget to smash thumbs up, like it, share it, talk in the chat, let's discuss these things, the Edu, Arsenal, the transfer market. Subscribe if you're new around here, and of course do all that good stuff. Big up Nick in the chat, big up Pepper in the chat as well. Yeah, it's gonna be long 2 weeks now. Genuinely, it's gonna be long 2 weeks. It's been very long 2 months. Arsenal seemingly this transfer window have tried to pull off 2.5 deals, basically. They have tried to pull off Calafiori, which took nearly a month and a half, and they in the end did. For a month pretty much a month, they have tried to pull off Merino, which doesn't look like it's any closer than it was legitimately 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. And that half deal is Seshko, but it is what it is. Yesterday I was angry, now I'm just resigned, and yeah, basically this is what it is. It genuinely sucks the living life out of you, all the enjoyment, all the happiness. It is very frustrating, it's very hell annoying, but hey ho, we chose this life path being Arsenal fans, so I guess we had to take it with the good and the bad. Basically, that's what it is. It's a long life to a marriage, which basically you cannot divorce in a way at all. Let's be real. And let's be real, to be honest as well. Low-key, and don't take me seriously when I say this, but I blame Thierry Henry for this one. Because he is one of the players I really fell in love with Arsenal. No lie, he is one of those players. Bergkamp, Thierry Henry, arguably some other players who are a bit older there as well, but in a way I blame him. I blame Wenger and I blame him, because it all started from there pretty much. It all started from there, and now 20 I rather not say how many, 20 plus years now later on, we are here in pain again, and it feels like it's been a massive downward spiral since then. But it is what it is. Genuinely, it is what it is. We have to take it and, well, get on with it. At work, but finally catching a live after a couple of days. Big up, BX Gunner. Big up. Welcome to the chat. Welcome. Thank you for dropping by. Big up Adieri in the chat as well. All the gang is here. Gehi, you have to wait. Genuinely, Gehi, you have to wait. Crystal Palace have rejected multiple bids. We'll see what Newcastle does. If Newcastle sign Gehi, there is actually an argument to be made that they might be challenging for top 4 by the end of the season. Full on, no lie, no cap, none of that. But let's be real, let's not drag this too long. Let's dig straight in, but there is basically quite a bit of stuff to actually talk about, ironically enough. And we're kicking things off with Purple Panel, who is not the most reliable, but you have to kind of read between the lines at times, so it is what it is. According to Purple Panel, Arsenal have granted Edu and Mikel Arteta full authority to target any player Arteta wants since the start of the window. Board is confident that the club will win the Premier League title this season. Oh, have mercy, son. Genuinely, this is, I don't know where to start even with this comment and this message I'm reading at the moment, because if this is true, right? Allegedly, the Cronkies have given Edu and Mikel Arteta full authority to target any player, which basically in this instance means why we haven't signed a striker or anyone? Because of Mikel Arteta, because he thinks we don't need a striker, because we don't need midfielders, because he thinks we need something else. We basically need to improve the best defense that I already have in the league. So it is what it is, okay. Since the start of the window, allegedly. Now, the next part. The board is confident that the club will win the Premier League this season. This season. Now, the big question is, have you seen any indication, movement in transfer market and even in pre-season that Arsenal will win the league? Give me a sec, let me check. Is the sound off? It feels okay. It feels okay. Let me see. Let's go there. Let's go do that. Okay, it should be better. It should be better, I think. But yeah, it's weird. Have you seen anything? Have you seen any indication that Arsenal will win the Premier League this season? Based on transfer movements, based on the preseason games or anything? Because the way we have played in preseason more or less is the same. Generally I saw some new things here or there, some new tactical variations, some new tactical runs, some new ideas how we could play. But still, at the end of the day, there has been nothing exceptional that would generally put us closer to Manchester City at the end of the day. Wait, how can my sound be low? Wait. Let's see. It should be okay. Should be okay. But anyways, where are we? Where do we see this? Like, random question. Like, where Arsenal will win the league this season? Where are they winning it this season? Because we haven't signed anyone in need that we need to improve the squad, to decrease the gap to Manchester City, and to do anything. Because every single thing that has happened in this transfer market has been for Arsenal to more or less take a step away pretty much from Manchester City and let every team that finished behind Arsenal to take one, if not two steps closer to us. So, I don't get it. Especially with the first statement that Arsenal have granted Edu and Mikel Arteta full authority to target any player Arteta wants. So where are they? Because we have targeted Šeško and he decided to stay in Leipzig. We targeted Calafiori, took us a month and a half. Now we are targeting Merino. Yet at the same time, we cannot even pay for him. Player last year on his contract, allegedly he wants to join Arsenal. Price is around 30 million, but Arsenal cannot find the money to pay for the guy. So how this statement makes any sense that Arsenal have granted Edu full authority to target if we cannot sign them? Well, in this instance you can think this way. They have given authority to target any player Arteta wants. Might as well go target then, I don't know, Vinicius Jr. Because we are not gonna sign him. Go target Tchouaméni. We are not signing him. Go target Yamal. We are not signing him. Go target whoever you want. But at the end of the day, it comes to the fact that we have to pay. And at the moment, we cannot even pay for a box of matches in the local store. Basically, that's how it's going at the moment with Arsenal in the transfer market. So, and then on top of that, the board is confident that Arsenal will win title this season. Where do they get this confidence from? What they are smoking back there to give them any verification, clarification, and confirmation that we're gonna win the league this season? We'll fall back to low 80 points, I think, especially if we get key injuries. Yeah, and that is the case. If Odegaard and or Saka get injured, we're done. If Saliba gets injured, well, we don't know yet, but more likely than not, we will see a drop-off instantly. And that is the case. One of the key guys gets injured, we're screwed. Instantly screwed. Imagine scenario like this. Hypothetical, of course. Partey more or less inevitably will get injured. More than likely, let's be real. And now let's for a random reason think this way. Rice pulls a hamstring, Rice twists his ankle and is out for a month and a half, for example, right? what does that leave in our midfield? Jorginho, Kai Havertz, and Odegaard. Do you think this kind of midfield can sustain our intensity and our, frick's sake, our solidity in the team? It gives us any confidence going into any games, not to mention, if in that spell when they are all injured, we have to play Manchester City, we have to play Liverpool, we have to play one of those teams. We will get run over, done over, will be cooked with no spices, genuinely. And it's really worrying at the moment. It is really, really worrying. But one thing, Arsenal cannot even sign Merino, and they say we'll see about that. Yeah, we'll see about that. We have 2 weeks to wait now. We have 2 weeks to wait till Arsenal maybe will sign Merino, because they haven't agreed a fee for Merino with Sociedad. They haven't even put in one bid to test the waters, actually, like they usually do for Merino as well. So that raises the question, when we will sign him? When? Because at this stage, it really reeks of a situation where we are in last week of the window and we're gonna pay over the odds just to get the player of the line, if we even have the money to do that, and then we're gonna try and do panic signings. Yet Edu has the audacity at the same time, when he's in the USA, tell us to be patient. By the end of the window, you will be excited. Excited for what? No lie. Excited for freaking what? Finishing second again? If so, maybe finishing third? Like, what are we doing here? Like, what we are really doing here? Who is being held accountable for that? Who is doing these things? Who is justifying and who is sanctioning these deals? Like, it makes no sense whatsoever. Because at the moment, it looks like Arsenal are broke. They have no money. They need to sell to sign. Because I don't see any other explanation to drag out Merino deal, which is around 30 million for a month. To drag out Calafiori, a 42 million deal, for a month and a half. It makes no sense. Okay, Calafiori is a bit different because there's sell-on clause on 2 teams and everything. It is what it is, right? But overall, why we cannot get our targets? Why we are linked with every single football player in the world, yet we don't go in for anyone? Like, what are we doing here? What really we are doing here? It makes no sense. It really makes no sense. Moving on. And brace yourselves for this one. Edward Nketiah, the most liked player at Arsenal. Arsenal are hoping for a bidding war on Edu Nketiah. Well, from who? Bournemouth have him on their list to replace Dominic Solanke, and Brentford will make a move if Ivan Toney ends up leaving. Arsenal didn't accept Marseille's lowballing 27 million euros, a lowballing offer. Okay, and are prepared to wait as they know the interest from English clubs is there. Like Edu said, be patient. The people at the club know what they're doing. To be honest, I have no idea what they're doing, and it feels like they have no idea what they're doing themselves. Like, explain to me to this. Wait, I want to check this. Ivan Toney, when does his contract run out? Next summer. So, next summer, right? Next summer. So let's think about this. Arsenal are hoping that Bournemouth will go into bidding war with Brentford if Ivan Toney leaves. And this is the big if he leaves. Because no team has put in a bid for Ivan Toney. And I have a theory on this. Sorry, a fly is flying around and it's really pissing me off. And I have a theory on this. Ivan Toney, entering this season, is on his last year on his contract. At the moment, he's earning about, 20 to 30 grand a week at Brentford, if I'm not mistaken. 20, I think it was. 20 grand a week. He is earning 20 grand a week. Imagine, Ivan Toney, England international, and all those things, and he's sitting on 20 grand a week. Seems kind of disrespectful to him, in a way. But the big thing about Ivan Toney here is, where is it? Ivan Toney. I think it was 20 grand a week the last time I checked. Ivan Toney. Yes, he is on 20 grand a week. Right here. You don't see the name, but he's right there. 20 grand a week. 20,000 a week. Edu Nketiah is getting 5 times more than Ivan Toney. Reece Nelson is getting 5 times more than Ivan Toney. Last season for Arsenal, Cedric was on 80 grand a week, so he was getting 4 times more than Ivan Toney, right? Their highest paid player was David Raya, but at the moment is Ben Mee on 55,000 a week. Now, the thing about Ivan Toney is, and this is my theory, the reason why at the moment Ivan Toney rumors are very quiet is twofold. One, there might be a surprise panic offer or a very late last second offer in the transfer market for him. Or two, he has behind closed doors told everyone that he's not leaving. Because if his contract runs out and he wants, let's just say, out of Bournemouth, next summer, he is a free agent. And as a free agent, to any club he goes, he can ask whatever the hell he wants in salary, in bonuses, in signing on fees, and in general. Because let's be real, a partial part of that will go to the agent as well and everything, but with 1 year left, that might be his game plan. Because he's 28. Ivan Toney is 28, right? I think Ivan Toney is 28. Yeah, he's 28 years old. In March next year, he will be 29. So, next year he'll be 29 as he will become a free agent. So here is the case. There's no shadow of a doubt that he will get a move to a bigger club and he will be on about 150 grand a week to 150 to 170 actually grand a week. There will be a signing on fee for about 5 to 10 million and there will be bonuses as well. So genuinely my belief in this is that the reason why Toney is so quiet in this transfer market and no club is going in for him, even though Brentford would accept 30, 40 million, something like that, is the fact that if he goes for free, he can ask whatever they want. Basically, he's going to every club on his terms. If we try and sign him, if someone puts in a bid, it's on the club's terms. They offer him 100 grand a week, take it or leave it. You take it, you come with us, you stay, you deny it, you decline, you're staying at Brentford basically. And Brentford will be pissed because they don't get the money to change their squad again. And that it is the case. But in this instance, that actually might be the case. Because if he goes as a free agent, the world is his oyster, as they say. That is my theory on this now. And this only hit me today, early morning, when before work at home I was drinking coffee and preparing to go to work and everything, and I was just browsing through strikers we have been linked with, and Ivan Toney was the one which was so hot in January for 80 million, and now it's pretty much grave dead silent. And that is the only case why I kind of dug a bit deeper and checked his contract, his salary, contract length and everything. And it turns out, after this season, his contract runs out. So that might actually, in my opinion, be the case why his deal on him is very quiet. And that's why Arsenal's bidding war most likely will never happen. And Bournemouth, when they will come in, there's a massive chance they will offer less than Marseille did. And on top of that, let's be real, these days no club is a stupid club. Maybe in olden days it was the case, you could see that in certain offers, but for Bournemouth it would make more sense to go, let's just say, put in a bid as they did for Evan Nilsson, for example. They have the money. Evan Nilsson, yes. Evan Nilsson is not Premier League proven, but Evan Nilsson at Porto is 1 year younger than Eddie Nketiah. He has done very decently at Porto, and there is argument to be made that he could actually do quite decently in Premier League as well. Last season, let's see. His value is about £30 million, so the same money, more or less, than Arsenal want for Edu Nketiah. You have to take that into account. Not to mention that if Bournemouth try to sign him, there's Premier League tax, English tax, homegrown tax, and everything. That adds a bit more value. Last season in Portuguese league, 13 goals, 4 assists in 27 games. It's not bad. In Champions League, 7 games, 4 goals, 1 assist. He played against Arsenal, if you recall, as well. So definitely going in for him would make much more sense. In all the way possible terms, it would make much more sense. So why would any team would go in for Edu Nketiah if, and this is the big if, why I don't think no team wants Edu Nketiah. 116 games in Premier League, 19 goals, 5 assists. So basically he gets a point every 5 games on average. Every 5 games on average. Imagine, you score every 5 games on average. Every 5 games. Now if we scroll down to the latest reports, last time he had a hat-trick against Sheffield United, and I was watching AFTV. Robbie from AFTV tried to justify the fact that we should get 30 to 35 million, in a way, because he scored a hat-trick last season. It was against Sheffield United, you bumbaclat. Now, you see, he scores only in home games as well. Sheffield, Fulham, Nottingham Forest. His last away goal was at Brighton in December 31st, 2022. So nearly 2 years ago was his last away goal. Since then, if he scores at home. Not to mention the fact that last home goal he scored was in the hat-trick, which was October 28th, 2023. So 1 year ago, more or less, almost. So which team would be dumb enough to pay 30 million for such a guy? Let me know. Which team would pay 30 million for Edu Nketiah, or 35, if he hasn't scored an away goal for 2 years, and nearly a year ago was his last goal for Arsenal? Not to mention the fact that he has played quite a bit of minutes since then as well. So, come on, man. What are we doing here? What legit are we doing here? Yeah, Toney's on 20 grand while Eddie's on 100. Imagine. Just imagine the scenes. Imagine. Strange. The thought literally came to me today that what if it's Toney who has turned down the club's not... Exactly. Because there is no coincidence in the fact that Toney has been linked with Arsenal, Spurs, Manchester United, and some other teams, and legitimately, with a magic wand, all the links have gone dead. There's all of a sudden, there's silence, there's no advancements, no continuation, no nothing. I think there might be something into the fact that Toney is going into last year of his contract. He has said, I'm gonna be a free agent next year. You want me? You come get me. But this will be only on my terms, and he can ask whatever he wants. So I think that is basically, ball will be in his court, and just depends if he can pull an ace serve or not. Pretty much at the end of the day. So yeah, that is the case, and yet Arsenal are still hoping to start a bidding war. I don't see Toney at the moment moving this summer. Only way I can see Ivan Toney moving this summer is if there's 1 week left in the transfer market, and Arsenal somehow finds a pound, like Josh just pulls out his wallet and says, here's some pocket change, and there's about 50 million, and Arsenal just put in last second bid for him. That is the only way I can see Ivan Toney leaving at the moment. But overall, I don't think any team is gonna go in for him. He's gonna see out his contract, and next year, when he's a free agent, many teams will circle like sharks around him most likely, and we will see what happens then, because it looks like Mikel Arteta is not leaving. So maybe then we will sign a striker, because I don't see any indication that Arsenal will sign a striker this summer transfer window whatsoever. No indication at all. Big up Yevgeny in the chat. Big up, big up. Leandro Trossard make hat-trick to Liverpool. With much more talent, go for it. Exactly. Toney scores... Toney. Leandro Trossard scores a hat-trick against Liverpool. And Arsenal signed him for what? 25 million? 20, 25, something like that. Arsenal signed him for 24 million. Very sorry, these mosquitoes are pissing me off. I'm gonna open my window just in case. But yeah, Leandro Trossard, 24. We spent 24 million on him. Scores a hat trick against Liverpool. Edu Nketiah scores a hat trick against Sheffield United, and Arsenal won 30 to 35 million for him. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Because in this market, let's be real, Trossard is much better value than Edu Nketiah has ever been. Trossard, if we should sell Trossard's contract, by the way, runs out in 2 years. Need to think about that as well. He's going to be 31 by then. It will be very interesting to see what's going to happen. No, he's going to be 30. Yeah, he's going to be 31 by then. It will be interesting to see what we're going to do with him. But yeah, Arsenal made a bargain deal. One of the best signings Edu has ever made at Arsenal. No cap. That is my opinion. Signing Leandro Trossard arguably is one of the best top 3 signings Edu has made at Arsenal. No questions asked. No questions asked. And to be honest, if you look at how Trossard has performed at Arsenal, he actually has done incredibly well, if you ask me. Incredibly well. Big up Tamin Ahmed in the chat. Big up, big up, big up. I'm doing great today. How are you? How are you? How are you? Thank you for dropping by. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Last season, 12 goals, 1 assist. Before that, 20 games, 1 goal, 10 assists. So every single time he has played for Arsenal, he has got into proper 13 and 11. So he has improved technically, but it is what it is. But yeah, he has done exceptionally well. Where is Arsenal? Here we go. When he has been a starter, he performs. When he comes on as a super sub, he also performs. So he is one of the Mr. Reliables in the team. He's gonna get you points no matter what, and in very difficult situations as well. Don't panic about Mikel Merino. He is joining Arsenal. Based on how we are moving, I wouldn't be so sure. Gyökeres will join Arsenal too. I'm not gonna lie, I don't see it at the moment whatsoever. I don't, unless Edu sells some of his jet skis he has purchased, I don't see it whatsoever. I have no belief at the moment, and no reason to believe, that Arsenal and Edu and Mikel Arteta have Gyökeres on their list. Because most of the transfer window, it has been said, Arsenal are exploring forward options, and they're not exploring striker per se, but more of a winger who can play on both sides. So I'm not sure about this at all. But yeah, let's move on from Edu Nketiah. I'm not done talking to him. Bournemouth are strongly interested in Edu Nketiah to replace Dominic Solanke. If he can score 20 goals for Bournemouth, I will be hella surprised. Bit of a side note about Manchester City. That hearing regarding Manchester City's 115 alleged breaches of Premier League rules is set to start next month. So it begins in September, and the outcome will be known early in 2025. So in January, it will be February, it will be very, very interesting to see what's gonna happen, where City is gonna be by then, and how it's gonna go. Because Arsenal will play Man City, I think, a week after the trial has started. So that will be very interesting to see how that develops and how it goes. So, yeah, we are legitimately a month away from one of the biggest trials, arguably in Premier League history, to beginning. It will be very, very interesting. Nketiah will leave this summer. Man, one can only hope. one of the biggest dreams this summer transfer window, Edu Nketiah getting the hell out of the club. According to Fabrizio Romano, initial talks for the Nketiah to Bournemouth took place today, which is obviously good news. The question is, will they come in for him? No D. And this is the big one. Aaron Ramsdale has been quiet on his front throughout the whole transfer window. Obviously, there were some talks in early stages about the fact that maybe Newcastle could want him, could get him 15 million. Arsenal laughed it off, and since then, it was dead silent. Obviously, he was in Euros, but in general, there were no news on him about him being sold, about any loans whatsoever. However, today, news came out that Arsenal have rejected an approach from Ajax to sign Aaron Ramsdale on loan. The Gunners would rather secure a permanent sale of Ramsdale, which obviously makes a lot of sense because Arsenal need money. You can tell that they are so skinned that they can't even sign a one-year contract left Merino at the moment. So it is what it is. But it's very interesting. Arsenal are sticking to their guns on Ramsdale, which I kind of have to applaud to. But at the same time, I don't see Ramsdale sitting on the bench for another season. I don't see him being satisfied with it, and I don't see Arteta being satisfied with that. The question is, will he go on loan, and if so, to where? Because at the moment, I don't see any team that's gonna buy, per se, Aaron Ramsdale. I can only see a loan move. Now the question is, would Bournemouth take Aaron Ramsdale back for 35 million? They have the Solanke money. Give us 65 million. We will give you Nketiah and Aaron Ramsdale. Would you take that deal? 65 million for Aaron Ramsdale and Edu Nketiah to Bournemouth. Both of them. Just 65 M's, all the Solanke money here, and they both go there. Would you take that deal? Because for me it would be kind of interesting. The issue is though, the wages on them both would be like suicide in a way for Bournemouth. Because 120 grand on Ramsdale, 100 grand on Edu Nketiah. Unless they take massive pay cuts, I don't see them signing them. And that is the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing. With the high asking value for especially Edu Nketiah in a way, Arsenal are trying to balance the books on the salary Arsenal are paying for Edu Nketiah. And that's why the deal for him, when Marseille came in with 27 million euro offer, which is about 23.5 million pounds, when Arsenal rejected it, kind of made no sense to me. Because Arsenal would get the money, and it would be done and dusted, because personal terms have been agreed upon, and Nketiah had already agreed on salary cut. But now it needs to get started all over again, and I'm not sure how much Bournemouth would be willing to pay them, especially to Edu Nketiah, because let's look at this. On how much money are all the Bournemouth players? Just curious, how much money Bournemouth players make? Because since they are going for Edu Nketiah, there would be some very interesting questions in that regard. So, obviously you won't see the names, but first things first. Justin Kluivert is on 80 grand. That is Justin Kluivert. I kind of can actually move the screen a bit. That actually should work. Let's do it like this. Oh, I have to do this though. Yeah, here we go. You can see it now. Justin Kluivert is on 80 grand a week, which to be honest is not bad. Not bad at all. Solanke obviously is gone. Sinisterra, to be honest, Solanke, 70 grand a week. Solanke bagged, 18, 19 goals last season. He was getting less than Nketiah at Arsenal. Less than Nketiah at Arsenal. It's kind of wild. Sinisterra is on 65. How is Lewis Cook on 60 is kind of a bit of a mystery, but here we go. 60 for Tyler Adams, Senesi on 50, Zabarny on 50, that's actually a very good player. Their main goalkeeper is Neto on 50 grand a week. If they would take Ramsdale, that actually wouldn't be the worst option for them. But overall, yeah, The highest paid player they have is Justin Kluivert on 80. Which means that Edu Nketiah, if he came in, he would have to be on very similar wages in that regard. So that would be a very, very interesting situation if we actually think about it. Well, the question remains, will they come in for him? Because that is the big question mark at the moment on everyone's mind. Will Bournemouth actually come in for Edu Nketiah? Because at the moment, all the things we are hearing are just links and random rumors. That there have been contacts, there are situations that are developing, but no actual bids, no actual discussions with agents and everything have taken place yet. At least they haven't been reported as of yet. So that is the case. And what future holds for Edu Nketiah? Most likely, it's hard to actually say, because if he leaves, then most likely he will leave to a Premier League club. If he stays, we are dusted. We are instantly dusted. Oh, that hurt. Instantly dusted on all the levels you can possibly imagine. Now, the thing about Ramsdale, though, even though Arsenal rejected because they want a permanent move this summer, Ajax remain optimistic and are still interested in the move. How would Ajax pay for him, though? You could argue Ramsdale would be the best goalkeeper they would have since, interestingly enough, Onana. Because Onana at Ajax was phenomenal under Ten Hag. Let's be real. The thing is, he went to Inter Milan, then he got those charges, he missed a year and everything, and now he looks like Almunia for Manchester United. Like, Manchester United legitimately have got their own Cameroonian Almunia. It feels that way, doesn't it? The way he plays, the way he concedes goals, and what type of goals he concedes and everything. It is kind of a mad one, but it is what it is at the end of the day. But yeah, if Ajax remain optimistic, could they strike a move? 120 grand a week and everything would be kind of interesting to see. The one thing about Ramsdale going on loan to Ajax would be the fact that it obviously depends how he plays, but he would be out of media sight. Obviously, Premier League newspapers would report on him, how he does at Ajax and if he plays and what he has done and everything. But overall, if you take overall worldview of teams that could be interested, unless you specifically follow Eredivisie for a certain reason, you would legitimately not see Aaron Ramsdale at all. Because if he's playing in Premier League, more or less all the eyes are on Premier League. But if you play in Eredivisie, unless you specifically follow Eredivisie or you have sent some scouts there if you look from certain clubs' perspective, more often than not, he will be out of sight and he will not get talked about. But we need to get to him perform actually great and get talked about, because otherwise his value over the years will only just go down unless he performs. Not to mention if he gets injured, what's gonna happen then? So this is a very tough one. We have put him on 120 grand a year before we signed Raya and everything. So no, not even a year, half a year before we signed Raya. So Arsenal again have made a bed, so they have to lay in it now. And Arsenal are really struggling. They're struggling to offload players. And just like under Arsene Wenger, we had players on insane wages that we could not offload. And we let the contracts run out and let them go for free. At the moment, more or less, we are in the same situation. Nketiah is on insane wages. And we are struggling really hard to sell him. Not to say that we won't at the moment in this window. But it looks like we might not. Same goes for Reece Nelson. All the talks have gone quiet. The hope was that maybe Leicester, Crystal Palace, someone would come in. But Leicester deal fell flat, mostly because Leicester couldn't afford the wages. And here is the big kicker. The wages is the biggest issue. And then Ramsdale as well, 120 grand a week. Not many clubs can afford to pay that. But if he's your main keeper, he's going to lead your line from the back. And he's going to do actually very, very good. Embrace everything. He is actually not a bad keeper. Let's be real. Aaron Ramsdale is not a bad keeper. The way our Arsenal and Arteta have treated him have made him look like a bad keeper overall. Obviously, there's the bozo gene here or there. The interview with Ian Wright wasn't the greatest. But overall, yeah, he is actually a good keeper. You could argue he's better than David Raya on certain instances. And that is the case for me. David Raya excels in things Aaron Ramsdale doesn't. Yet at the same time, Ramsdale excels at certain things that Raya doesn't. But one thing Arteta wants is player with good in his feet and who is a control freak like him. In other words, controls the box. Raya does both of those things very, very well. Ramsdale doesn't. Let's be real. He has that misplacing passes here or there, and he cannot control and command the box. On the other hand, I would say Ramsdale is a better shot stopper than David Raya. You could argue that. Not to mention that both goalkeepers cannot cover the near post. We have seen that as well countless times, so it is what it is. That actually could be a coaching issue here. So, I don't know what's going on here. You don't get the feeling that Arsenal have a problem with the scouting department. We are in talks with teams we've already had deals with. Calafiori, Bologna, Tomiyasu, Merino, Zubimendi, Real Sociedad, Odegaard, Tierney, Chelsea, Havertz, Jorginho, Willian, blah blah, yeah, Trossard, White, and from Brighton. It feels like we don't buy the best bargains on the market. We go to the store near home. We are missing out on a lot of top 3 agents. Isco, Dovbyk, to Roma for 35 and so. Exactly. That is the feeling I'm getting. Arsenal go to teams that they have good relationships with. Remember when we had this chance to sign Moises Caicedo from Brighton, and we were just pissing around with certain bids, and Arsenal in the end didn't sign him just to be football friends, to keep good relations. Same went with Sao Paulo. We easily could have signed Marquinhos for free, but we threw 3 million on the top to keep good relations with them. Now Marquinhos is just been somewhere back to Brazil, of course, and nobody remembers his name pretty much. He gets more confused with the center back at PSG than anything. That's the only thing from him that he has in common with football. But overall, yeah, it feels that way because we go back to the same old places we know. We know we are comfortable with. We know we can do business with. But as soon as we go to a place, we try to go to an uncharted territory, we struggle like no tomorrow. That is the case, and it is what it is. But our scouting department is getting rebuilt at the moment. This summer we have let scouts go. We have hired new scouts, 2 I think or 3. We have sacked very big amount of our youth players, and we are signing new youth players. We are revamping the whole youth system as well. But this summer, 5 years into the project, it should have been done in year 1, year 2, not now. But it is what it is. Exactly, scouting, buying, and selling, all problem areas. Ironically enough, those 3 areas are the areas that matter in the transfer window to make your team better or worse. And that's the end of it. Arsenal, to be honest, have missed on quite a bit of big deals Arsenal have made. For example, we never shop in the free agent department. We never do that. Which means if Ivan Toney next season runs out his contract, he stays at Brentford for 1 more year. It means that next season, when he will be available, Arsenal won't go for him. Plus, Arteta doesn't like his personality. Ugh. Get a personality in your team and deal with it. Be a man. Not just instantly. As soon as he has some issues, bin Guendouzi, who actually would have cooked in our midfield at the moment, bin Özil, bin Aubameyang, who would have cooked it in this Arsenal's team, by the way. We let Aubameyang go for free. Yet, Barcelona sold him for money, Chelsea sold him for money, and now Marseille sold him for money to Saudi as well. Every single player he has had some issues with, he has pretty much let go for free. Just destroyed the contract. Same went with Nicolas Pepe. I think Pepe at the moment would be a very great replacement for Bukayo Saka. A backup for Bukayo Saka, sorry. I totally believe that. And he would have been great if only Mikel Arteta gave him a proper chance. But hey ho, it is what it is. But yeah, scouting, buying and selling are all the problem areas. And ironically enough, what's the common predominator in all these areas? Edu Gaspar. Shocking, isn't it? Very shocking, isn't it? Remember when we signed Edu, that ESPN journalist said, good luck to Arsenal, when we signed Edu. And we are genuinely feeling all the fruit from that right now. He's afraid of bidding wars. He's afraid to go in like a big club, although that's Arsenal's issue for years and everything. We are just wannabe big club. It feels that way. You know, like in families, you have brother and sister, or 2 brothers. You have the big brother and you have the smaller brother who tries to act cool, so be just like his big brother and everything, but he doesn't have the abilities, the skills to do some stuff like that, and he cannot pull it off, basically. This is what Arsenal is. In the Big Six, for example, right? There you have your big brothers like City, United, Chelsea, and everyone. They act, yeah, we have the money, let's go, I want to get that and that. Then you have Arsenal. They technically have the money, but they don't have the ability to do what the big brother is doing in this instance. We are just wannabe big brother, and we are just waiting to grow up in the end. I think Arteta should get more credit than what... I'm not saying they are not deserving any credit, but the incompetence in the transfer windows is one of the biggest things that is letting us down year after year. We have spent 750 million in the transfer market, and I strongly believe that around 300 million of those have been wasted for players that pretty much don't see light of the day. Why in Mikel Arteta's tenure we have signed 8 different goalkeepers? We have signed about, I don't know, 9 defenders, 11 defenders, something weird like that. We have spent 280 million on defenders, about 200 million on 300 million on midfielders. In Arteta's time, we have signed 3 forwards, Marquinhos, Trossard, and Gabriel Jesus. Because Havertz came in as a midfielder, as Mikel Arteta stated himself. And then when the shit hit the fan, he decided to throw him on top. Yeah, obviously. That is the case. But at the moment, it's the same thing every year. And that's what is pissing me off in this instance. It's not that hindsight or everything, but every single year is the same things over and over and over again. It's like we don't learn. And that's what basically builds this anger and this disappointment with everything. You won't find out why certain things didn't work unless you are in the certain places. That is the big case. We can, as fans, only speculate until the truth comes out, or it will never come out. Because at this moment, from what we see, for example, at Nketiah, Edu fumbled the bag, rejecting 27 million euro deal because they wanted 30 or 35 million, and that's about it. Because personal terms allegedly been agreed upon and everything. And now Marseille went to Lens, played 25 plus 5 million for the same money they would have paid for Nketiah more or less, and got Wahi. Go figure, basically. Go figure. Go figure. It's just my opinion. And that's it at the end of the day. The good side is, obviously when you let youngsters go, they need to get paid about them. So understand that Arsenal remain in negotiations with Luton Town, who have signed Rule Walters, and obviously with Brighton, who signed Cozier Dewberry, and also of course Chidobe Martin with Manchester United to negotiate the compensations, whether there will be some money, maybe some sell-on clause and all that stuff, similar like we had on with Omari Hutchinson and everything. Basically Arsenal are trying now to negotiate that. This is basically the way that it works in Premier League, because if we were in different in different leagues you can play at younger age, unfortunately in Premier League you kinda can't, so it is what it is. Obviously Karl Hein has joined the Real Valladolid on loan. They have joined Real Valladolid on loan. It's been announced by Real Valladolid. Good luck to him on loan, hopefully he does well. In other news, Martin Odegaard is one of the 6 or 8 players, I don't remember on top of my head, have been nominated for PFA's Player of the Year award together with Foden and Haaland and other players. Obviously he won't win it. It most likely will be Foden or Haaland, but it is what it is. Yesterday we talked for the Young Player Award. Saka has been nominated in between Cole Palmer, Kobe Mainoo and other players. That will be more interesting whether Saka will win it or not. So we will have to wait and see. So obviously good luck to him. Maybe he will win it. Maybe we can get a trophy in that regard. Jorginho has said that Arsenal is ready to win the first league title in 21 years this season. So just like Kroenke said that they believe and think that Arsenal will win a trophy this season, will win the Premier League, so does Jorginho. which is very interesting because at the moment, based on transfer window, I don't see a reason why we would win it, which is very weird because we haven't gotten stronger. We are pretty much in the same place where we were. If you include Calafiori, it is what it is. We have made our defense bare. No, well, not the bare, but we have sustained our defense, so we have depth in our defense. But at the end of the day, yes, defense wins championships, but we need to learn how to score goals from open play. Because we cannot rely on set pieces throughout the whole season. Sooner or later, the penny will drop, they will figure us out, and then what we will do. Because at the moment, it is what it is. We have scored quite a bit of set piece goals, but we need to do that more from open play. And here it is, Mikel Merino. Arsenal and Real Sociedad are still some way apart over the structure and the amount of the deal on Mikel Merino's proposed transfer. Sociedad are holding out for 34 million euros, which is about 30 million something pounds, while Arsenal have been aiming to pay closer to 25 million, which is around 20 million pounds. So Arsenal again will be haggling, will be trying to discuss a deal. 10 million difference. 35 million. Arsenal are aiming to pay closer to 25. Which in a way, you know, we got told that once a midfielder leaves Arsenal, we will sign Merino. We sold Emil Smith-Rowe with 27, with adding on, well, 7 on top. It would make it 34 million. And we still don't have enough money. Obviously, the 7 extra and add-ons, that doesn't come now, but 27 should come now. The thing is, we have no idea how Arsenal have agreed the structure of the 27 million to be paid by Fulham. It might be 10 million now, 10 million in the next quarter on the half, and then 7 in the end. We have no idea. Maybe that's the reason, because unless Arsenal agreed to pay 27 million up front right now, we don't have the money by the looks of things to sign Merino. Obviously, Arsenal have valuation on Merino, so does Real Sociedad. Merino wants to leave. Maybe there will be maybe they can force his hand somehow, maybe to do the buyout clause that they have in La Liga, where player needs to buy out his own contract and then he can leave or something like that. But at the moment, Arsenal are in a standstill, and this is one of the biggest reasons why price hasn't been agreed upon for 3 weeks, since the personal terms have been agreed upon nearly, and why Arsenal haven't put in a bid. They still have not basically made amends with Sociedad and decided what will be the price. They have not made a deal. They don't know how much they're gonna pay. So basically, strap in, guys. This will be a very long last 2.5 weeks of the window. Very long, because it doesn't look like Arsenal will be budging much from the 25, and it also doesn't look that Sociedad will be budging from 35. Oy, Dios mío, this will be hella annoying. Unpopular opinion, but I would try for Gallagher for like 25 to 30 million. Was great when he's gone out on loan and age is perfect and could play left 8. No thanks. No thanks. I see where you're going with this, but again, I don't want another Chelsea player at Arsenal. I'm sick of tired of buying players that are not good enough for the teams we are competing against. Yes, maybe against Chelsea at the moment we are not competing against, but in general, you get what I mean. We signed players that were surplus to requirements, the teams we were fighting with, like City, for example, which was the aim. We signed Zinchenko and Jesus. Pep saw like 2 years, year before that they were not good enough, so he allowed us to sell them. It is what it is. We got done over with Havertz deal, 65 million. That is a mad one. How, why, when, how, what? I still have no idea. I'm just sick of tired of signing players from our opponents. Opponents we supposedly should be fighting against. If they're not good enough for them, how can they be good enough for us? Like, for me, it doesn't make any sense in that way. Like legitimately, it makes no sense for me. Like, it might be agenda, maybe, that the fact that it's Chelsea and everything, but I just don't want that. I don't want for us to go to other big teams, see what players they have lying on in the background they don't want themselves, they're open to selling and everything, and then just sign them for ourselves. In that instance, we might just go for Conor Gallagher. As you said, we might go for Trevor Chalobah and everyone. Just, it is what it is. Yeah, I totally get that. I really don't want to do business with Chelsea. Exactly, that is the case. We have signed too many Chelsea players, and pretty much none of them have worked out whatsoever. Like, you think about it. We have signed, who we have signed there? I think it was Gallas. It's been Cech, Willian, David Luiz. The list goes on and on. Let's be real. Yet at the same time, we have sold some of our best players to them, like Ashley Cole, Cesc Fabregas. Like, it's not it. It's not it. No thanks. No thank you. No thank you. Legitimately, it's not it. At least for me. Maybe you would take him. Well, Merino wants to go, and everything is in clear on his side. Arsenal have been enduring slow negotiations over both price and paid installments. Arsenal would prefer to spread the agreed fee over 3 bloody years, whereas Sociedad want much more upfront. Makes sense, but here we go again with the installments. How you want to pay 30 million in 3 years? Are we really that being destroyed by PSR or FFP, or we don't have money at all to sign him straight up pretty much? It's so weird with Arsenal. Yeah, I know that we are still paying off Declan Rice. We paid 27 for what's its face? For Raya. We signed Calafiori, so that goes quite a bit of money. Yes, we sold Emil Smith-Rowe. We got some players off the books as well in a way. But like, exactly, Arsenal want to, well, not 20 million for 3 years, but they want to pay about 25 to 30 million pounds over 3 years, so basically 10 million a year. Like, how broke you have to be? How has nobody paid attention to, maybe, if it is a thing for us at the moment, obviously we don't know, FFP and PSR rules, that we are so close to that edge that we are all of a sudden starting to split hairs to sign a player. Like, how has no accountant in Arsenal, no, I don't know, someone else in finance department seen that or paid attention to it? Because it feels that way from our point of view. Because all of a sudden we have to split a 30 million deal over 3 years. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? And this again comes back to incompetence of the 750 million spent over the last 4.5 years. We have spent them very unwisely in the end, signing players that maybe should not have been signed, and we should have signed somebody else. Because I'm still a strong believer that signing Havertz was not the best deal. Because this window for me, in my personal opinion, and this is my opinion only, would be much different if instead of Havertz for 65 million, we would have just added 10 million on top of Havertz's price and signed Maddison plus Kudus. We would have been in much better position at the moment. We would have had a backup for Saka / number 10, and we would have had a number 8 as well. Yes, Maddison is injury prone, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter anymore. I would have taken him at Arsenal last summer. I would have taken Kudus at Arsenal last summer. Those two legitimately is Havertz plus 10 million. Havertz's price plus 10 million. And if you think like that, if we sign those two instead of Havertz, this window would be legitimately night and day compared to what it is now. Because we wouldn't need certain positions to be addressed anymore. We wouldn't be stressed what if Saka gets injured. What if someone else gets injured? We wouldn't be so stressed. A long time ago, Wenger lied to us saying we have to sell stars to build up stadium to buy expensive players on par with MU. The stadium is there, the money from the Champions League is there, but they act like buyers in the market. I have mixed feelings about this statement. For me, Arsene Wenger has done everything he can to kind of try and pay off the stadium debt we had. We still have, technically, because only reason we think we don't have because KSC bought it out, basically. Kroenke's bought it out and we played directly to them, not to the banks of UK, basically. But we sold players not to do anything. We had to pay off the stadium. And we did that. Arsene Wenger did that. He did that with limited funds. I really don't think if we got Champions League every single year, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't sign player, for example, in the market when we only sign Petr Cech. When we only sign some 2 subpar players on loan or something like that. There is no reason for that to happen if there aren't any underlying causes. And I strongly believe that Arsene Wenger, in his time at Arsenal, even though the last few years, in a way he kinda tarnished his legacy a bit, he did everything in his power to try and pay off the debt of the stadium and to comply with FFP and PSR rules. Because they were then as well, it's just been very talked about very loudly in the last year and a half. It's just Arsene Wenger did everything he can to do that, and that's why it felt, well, we have very slow windows. The thing about this is, though, it feels like deja vu at the moment, because we technically had money, now we have no money, it feels like, in the market, and we cannot sign anyone, and we again are kind of in the PSR FFP region, struggling in that instance again. We are still paying off the stadium, by the way. It's just owned by Kroenkes at the moment. The debt we just pay the debt to Kroenkes. It's not owned by Kroenkes, but the debt is owned by Kroenkes. It's just that case. And I think a big part of the money is also going there from the Champions League and everything. Anything else? There is consequence. Mikel Merino is intent to move to Arsenal, while Mikel Arteta has already been planning for different ways that he can use the player. It will be peak if we don't sign Mikel Merino at the end of the day, because Arteta already has envisioned he plays other players in that role to see maybe how it would play into the game, and if we don't sign Merino, it might get peak, genuinely. There's consequently a confidence that it will happen, but Arsenal are anticipating long hours negotiating with Real Sociedad. How about paying them the damn money and just moving on with it? There's still 2 weeks in the window. You can sign somebody else. Because at the moment it feels like we're going to sign Merino and that will be it. Because we cannot even get that over the line at the moment, which is hella annoying. Yusuf Fofana, remember the guy? He was available, and he still is available, by the way, at Monaco. He hasn't gone to AC Milan yet. It's been 2 months into the window, by the way, by tomorrow. He still is there. Manchester United are ready to make an important offer to sign Yusuf Fofana that will match Monaco's demands. United are now leading AC Milan in the race, according to Sky Sports. So he has been on the market all this time. We need a number 6, and we haven't gone for him. And he would be available for about 35 million as well. 35 million euros apparently. This is mad. Yeah, there are Yeah, those were the days when with all these Giazidises and Uzmanovs and everything, there is some dirty money. There could be there. Arsenal are 10 million short, we already know that much. And according to David Ornstein, Arsenal already have lined up a replacement for Aaron Ramsdale if we manage to sell him. If Arsenal part ways with Ramsdale, the club has already lined up Espanyol's Juan Garcia as a potential replacement. If you sell Ramsdale, you won't have 2 months to discuss this, to try and negotiate this deal, by the way. You will have legitimately few days. So if you sell Ramsdale, you better get your A game on. As good, I don't know even if you have any A game, but it is what it is. So we'll have to wait and see, of course. Anything else new here in Arsenal's world, because it's been a hell of a nuts day again. Reported players intent to joining Arsenal, but Edu is expecting it will be tough to get him. That is Mikel Merino, correct? I'm just browsing now through quickly because I want to see. Yeah, it's Mikel Merino. Nobody cares. On private flight now, Fabrizio Romano has just shared a twist in Conor Gallagher's transfer saga. He's flying back to Chelsea with a deal could be kind of on the brink of destruction as well, because Atletico Madrid are getting pissed off with Chelsea, allegedly. Arsenal transfer chances boosted by Liverpool's target decisions. Yeah, Zubimendi has rejected Liverpool, which kind of gives a potential inkling that there actually might be a case that Merino will move this summer. That is the only hope. Of course, granted, if Arsenal pay the money. It doesn't look that way at the moment, of course. Really good business article. Pundits admit he is pressed by Tottenham. Blah, blah, blah. That is about Solanke. Arsenal can still sign a new top striker. Yeah, they can. The question is, will they? Because at this stage, Arsenal can sign anyone, because we are linked with everyone, legitimately. The question is, do we have the money to sign anyone at all? And at the moment, it doesn't look that way, because we are haggling over 10 million to sign Mikel Merino in 3 years in installments to pay legitimately 10 million a year. Like, how desperate and how broke you have to be to even try that? Like, imagine you go. This is what Pepper said today to me on Twitter, by the way. Imagine season ticket holders go to Arsenal and say, you know what? We will get your season ticket. Can we pay the season ticket 3 years in installments? Like, it would be the same thing. You are buying a player 3 years in installments, there's no guarantees. We're gonna maybe pay your season ticket in 3-year installments. There are also no guarantees. Something similar. It's like me going to a shop, getting a pack of milk. It costs, let's just say, £1.50, right? I have, well, let's just say 70 pence. And I say, you know what? I'll give you 70 pence now, and the rest of the 80 pence, I'm gonna pay you 2 weeks in installments. Next week, I'm gonna bring by 40 pence, and the week after that, I'm gonna bring you 40 more. Deal? It's actually insane. It's actually insane. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna end it here. Thank you guys so much for chilling. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new around here, of course, smash a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell and everything. Thank you for interacting in the chat. You have been fan-freaking-tastic once again. Tomorrow is August 14th, which means Arsenal are led by FC, legitimately. Tomorrow's the August 14th, which means the transfer window will have been open for 2 months straight. And Arsenal have barely signed a player. Oh, Dios mío, I don't know even what to say. Premier League kicks off in 3 days. 4 days for Arsenal. It's gonna be a long one. It's legitimately gonna be a long one. But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for chilling. You have been fan-freaking-tastic. Take care. Stay safe. Hopefully we sign anyone soon. If not, Edu out.